What if I offered you $10,000 or $5 million in 5 years? Would you take the instant payout or wait for the long-term payout in 5 years? Today, we're exploring a fascinating concept: instant gratification versus delayed gratification. Let's get in. So before we get into the subject, let me start with a small story of my own. So around a decade or more back in my university days, I used to game a lot with my friends. I used to love gaming, especially this game called World of Warcraft. I used to spend hours playing it, if not days continuously. Okay, that's a bit of an exaggeration. I used to spend hours continuously, spending nights and sleeping after breakfast. Yeah, those used to be a common sight. And I enjoyed those times, playing my characters. If you know, I used to play the Wrath of the Lich King expansion. And I used to, level up those characters, play with my friends, get new items, gear up, etc. And this used to be a lot of fun. But unfortunately, it didn't, have any benefit other than me making lifelong friends. There was no material benefit. I was just being gratified instantly, the instant high, the dopamine of, playing the game, getting the characters up, leveling up, the items, etc. I was just lost in it. And it used to give me instant gratification for the moment. They used to give me small highs whenever I gained a small victory, whenever I leveled up, etc. But they had a hidden cost. I was wasting my time, my grades were impacted, and the high was only short-lived. But of course, I made lifelong friends through this, and they are my friends even to this day. So instant gratification is that piece of cake that you can have, the short break that you want to have during your workout or your run, or browsing through social media endlessly. So these are forms of instant gratification which we look for the immediate high of being happy or being satisfied, and not thinking about the long-term consequences of these actions that we do every day. Each one of them alone doesn't bring a detriment on its own, but each one repeated multiple times over the long term, that's when the real detriment happens. So I have some relatives of mine who play Candy Crush, and they're so addicted to the game, like they play it constantly. They're waiting for the new update, the scrolling up, I don't know what it is nowadays, like the bubbles popping. It gives them that instant gratification. I'm not saying I'm a saint and I don't fall victim to this trap. So let me tell you about this Marshmallow Experiment that was conducted in the 60s and 70s. So children were given a choice. They could have a marshmallow right now sitting in the table in front of them and enjoy it, or they could wait around 15 minutes and they could have 2 marshmallows. Some kids chose to have the marshmallow immediately, and some chose to wait and have 2 marshmallows. Now what they did is they tracked these children over their life and how they performed throughout their life. People who could, or the children who could wait, be patient to get the higher reward than get the instant reward of, but a lower reward. So the children who waited, demonstrating better self-control and in general performed better in their lives. So what's the moral here? It's that delaying gratification is in direct correlation with what metrics of success we measure. But is it that we are just born with being more patient for higher rewards, or can we train this in our adult life as well? The good news here is we can train to be more patient and wait for the rewards for longer. In the modern day, instant gratification is very easy to access. So on my phone, I could open the food app and just deliver whatever food I want. If I'm craving for some cake, I can just order it. Some chocolate, I can order it. If I want to play some games, I can just open it. I have easy access to whatever games I want. If I want to browse through social media, it's there. It's so easy to be sucked into instant gratification in our modern day life. When we delay the gratification, we have to invest time and effort, and we have to be patient with the result coming in a future date. Waiting for that 5 million in 5 years, it's not easy. 5 years is a long time. But when we finally achieve it, the reward is very sweet, and it's much more exponentially higher than instant gratification that we receive right now. So one of the ways to tackle instant gratification is to not visualize the reward. So if you're thinking about cake all day, you're feeling the texture, the color, the smell of it, the way your spoon is gonna roll through the cake and you're gonna scoop and you're gonna have, and how it's gonna feel in your mouth. If you visualize this, sorry if I'm causing you to visualize it right now. I'm just giving an example. So if you visualize this, it causes you to have it more and more, and then you're looking forward to it. Your brain releases dopamine that, I'm gonna have some cake. It's gonna be fun. This is how it starts. It's not just about cake. It could be, scrolling through social media. It could be playing a game. The more you think about it, the more you just want to do it. It's easier said than done. But whenever that craving comes in, it's better to think about something totally different. Suppose you're thinking about cake and then if that cake is not good for you, or chocolate or whatever. Think about something totally different. Maybe popcorn or a fruit. It's not easy. I know it's not easy. I've tried it myself. It has worked here and there, but it has worked for me most of the times. So thinking about popcorn, the smell of popcorn, the sound of it popping, how it's going to feel in your mouth, it's going to replace that craving that you're going to have for cake. So this is one way you can tackle instant gratification. Suppose you want to browse through social media. So instead of that, just think about, I'm going to call my friend right now. I'm going to talk about this. If this friend doesn't answer, which happens a lot, maybe I'll call the other friend. So think about that instead of, browsing through social media. Just try to think about replacing one thing with the other, especially replacing the thought process that goes in your head. Oh, I'm going to, be on social media. This is what I'm going to look at, these posts, these videos, etc. Whatever it's going to be. Instead of that, think about something else. And maybe you don't do that, but just thinking about something else can divert your attention and you're less likely to do the thing that is, gratifying you instantly. I'm not saying it's always bad to give in to instant gratification. The small things. Cake is not always bad. The chocolate is not bad. Social media is not always bad. It's just the repeated habit of doing it every day that's detrimental to our development. It also doesn't mean that delaying gratification is always good for you. Like most things, balance is the key. Knowing when to wait for things and knowing when to do it immediately can be a big decider in how you are in life, in your personal growth, in your health, etc. So going back to my original question of 10,000 right now or 5 million in 5 years, answering this question might reveal a lot about yourself. There is no right answer. It all depends on the situation. But more often than not, waiting or having patience about your results is generally better for you. We generally fall into the trap of instant gratification, browsing through social media. It's just because there is some more important task which has a long-term reward which we just want to procrastinate about. If you want to learn how to tackle procrastination at the different levels, check this video out. Goodbye.